I didn't actually even read the rules for this, so that might have been a um, foolish endeavor. Greetings, I'm Blackjack Fitz, and today's puzzle is Blackout by ThePedallingPianist. And I sort of only glanced at the rules, but it looks very interesting. So let's take a look. Let's read them together. It's a 4x4, and yeah, let's just read the rules. It starts, "Oh no! I just finished constructing a sudoku when suddenly the lights went out, and I couldn't see where I'd put my clues. Can you help me rebuild it? I'll tell you everything I remember." So we had normal 4x4 Sudoku rules. So that means we're going to place the digits 1 through 4 in every row, in every column, and in every 2x2 box. The grid contains 2 straight lines, diagonal or orthogonal. So this is a diagonal line, and this is a orthogonal line. Is what that means, of different lengths. So here you can see this is 3. That's serendipitous that I did that. 3 and 4, so that would work. These may overlap if necessary. So we could, for example, have we could have a line that went like this instead of this, and that would be okay. A line of length L, which is the number of cells visited, must visit at least one cell in row L, column L, and box L. Okay, so L stands for length. In any column C, there are never more than C cells visited by a line. Ooh, okay, so that's really trippy. Take care, door there. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so let's see what that means again here. So let me reread that. A line of length L. So let's just look at one line. So that's a length 3 line. It must visit at least one cell in row 3. Got it. In column 3, also got it here. And in box 3, which we don't have because there's nothing in there. Okay, so that wouldn't work. We've ruled that particular line out. Although if we made it like that, I think that works because now it's in one of row 4, column 4, and in box 4. So that would work. Okay. And then in any column C, there are never more than C cells visited by a line. So we can't have another line 2. We also couldn't have, for example, I keep being on the wrong things. We couldn't have like this because that would be 3 cells in box 2. Okay. One of the lines is a parity line, i.e. adjacent digits on the line must contain one even and one odd digit. Okay. And the other line is a region sum line, i.e. box borders divide the line into segments which have equal sums. Okay, exactly 2 digits exhibit an anti-king property, i.e. any 2 appearances of such a digit may not be within a single diagonal step of each other. So if this was a 2 and it had the anti-king property, we couldn't put 2 in any of those cells. These because they're in the same box, these because they're in the same column, these because they're in the same row, and the remaining 3 because they're a king's move away. Okay, but we don't know if 2's anti-king or not. And also it says exactly 2, which is going to be interesting. So if we find 2 digits that aren't in a king's position, the other 2 have to have some kind of king's overlap somewhere. Okay, one last thing. I promised the clues led to a unique solution. Now, where did they go? Okay, that's interesting. I think that implies... does that mean that we have to assume uniqueness with this? That might mean that we have to assume uniqueness. Hey, Puzzle Pusher, welcome. Cheers. Ratfinks showing back up, waking from her slumber. Nice to have you back. So, righty. Those are the rules. That's wild. I'm really curious about this last one, if that means that we have to assume uniqueness. And yeah, that's how I'm interpreting it. I'm not sure how we're meant to do that. So yeah. Or I just find lines that make the puzzle unique. Okay, that's probably a better interpretation of it. So you were roused from your slumber. Okay, so there's a link to the puzzle in the video description. Do have a go yourself. But I'm going to try to solve it now with the help of my friends in Twitch chat. If you all are ready, let's go ahead and see if we can't figure out what the pedaling pianist is up to here. So, okay, so the last interpretation of that means that the lines had to force a unique solution, which makes perfect sense. We couldn't, so there might be multiple ways of filling the lines that meet all of the criteria, but have multiple solutions. That's a really interesting constraint because it's like you have to think like a setter. It's forcing someone else to be. I had an idea for a puzzle a while ago that was called like Setter's Revenge, and it was basically a bunch of things where you had to finish a puzzle in such a way that it created a unique solution, but it was all set up to make it really hard to do that. Yeah, but that was actually a lot of hours of my time that did not lead to a completed puzzle. But anyway, let's think about what we can do here. So the one thing to think about is column 1. Well, one thing I was just wondering is, could you have like a length 1, like a line that's just one cell? Because that's in row 1 and column 1 and in box 1. But that doesn't feel good. I also think that, well, it wouldn't help us creating a unique solution either. Okay, so we need a parity line and a region sums line. I really don't know where to begin with this, to be perfectly honest. Really don't know how to do this. I love the idea. So if there's a 4 length line, it has to, we can't do like that because it doesn't go into box 4. We can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that. None of those could be length 4 lines. Okay, so the potential length 4 lines are there and there. Nope, not even that. There or there. Oh, no, not this one. So, okay, if we have a length 4 line, those are the only possibilities. Because we need to be... That's really interesting that there's only 4 of those. I think that all of these work. The sort of constraint is just around columns, right? In any column C, there are never more than C cells visited by a line. Yes. Okay, so those are all the possibilities of a 4 length line. Now, what I don't know is, do we need a length 4 line? Okay, let's think about length 3 though, because 3 is actually quite tricky because you have to get over here somewhere into box 3. So, and we can't do that or that or that or that. None of that works. So you can't have a horizontal line in column 1 or column 2. You also obviously can't do anything like this because that wouldn't pick up anything in box 3. So, in fact, if there's a length 3 line, it's not horizontal. Or I'm sorry, it's not vertical. I kept saying horizontal. It's definitely not vertical if there's a length 3 line. So I think we could do that though. Oh, not this, because it needs to be in row 3. It needs to be in row 3 somewhere. So if it's horizontal length 3 line, I don't know if this is the way to think about the puzzle, but it's helping me wrap my head around it at least. I don't think that this is how, like, ruling out all potential line segments is probably not the way to do this, but it's helping me kind of think through the possibilities here. Now the other alternatives are that and that, I think, or it could be that. Oops, it could be that. I think is also possible because this sort of meets all of the criteria. And then the same thing is true with this one. It could be like that, couldn't it? That's interesting though, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, any length 3 line needs to take that cell. Oh, is that true? What about this? Ah, okay. All right, let me start over. That's wild. Okay. Yeah, okay. It looks like GDC had the exact same thought I did, which was that was going to be on it, but oops, that's not true. This, I think, is entirely possible. Or even that. Both of those could be true too. And we don't know that we need a length 3 line is the other thing, right? Oh, okay. Okay. So the 2 digits in an anti-king rule is probably the place to start. So let's just put some digits in. Let's say this is like 1, 2. Now 1 one's down here. What does that do? What does this mean? It was over here. Well, okay, so 2. Let's think about, I think this cell might be more constrained. 2, 2. Boy, am I not understanding this. I'm looking at the 2 digits are anti-king rule. I think they are forced. If this digit was do we know like the numbers of it? I don't see how we could know the numbers of it, but maybe the positions of it. If this digit, I think maybe it has to do with like there's probably not that many ways you could fill out a 4x4, right? That's one sort of orientation for this. What about that? Okay, so let's imagine we were trying to not have, we're trying to do anti-king. Could that be one of them? Then that would be forced, that would be forced, and that would be forced. So that's one way to do it. Okay. So then 2, I think that's probably the only way to do it. I think there's like a set thing that has to do with the corners of this and then these digits, but I don't really know 9x9 grids very well. So I don't think that this could be it. So then wherever we put here, so let's say we go there. Now we're in this position where we need those 2. Well, what about if we went there? Now that, and then it breaks. Yeah, it's interesting. So if that's the one, then that becomes 1 and it breaks. So I think that's the point, is that these digits become the anti-king digits. So whatever that is, that cell, now it can't go there or there, so it has to go there, like that. And then I think we get this sort of pattern here. And now we get that. So I think this pattern's forced. Is this what we were getting at? Oh, that was a terrible color choice. Light blue? Yeah, that's okay. Is it? You know what would be even better, though? Yellow. Yeah, that stands out nice. Okay. Okay, I think that that's forced. Now, that's going to mean something for how we can draw lines, because why? I don't know. Let's look at our length 4 lines, because that was the most sort of constrained version of this. So region sum, I think that works. 1, 4, and 2, 3. So yeah, if this was 1, 4, and this is 2, 3, then that works. Okay, and then that's obviously a easy region sum line. All right, so region sum works easily. The other would be parity, and that sort of works easy too, doesn't it? Well, not this way, because these two are the same digit. So if it was parity, then it would be one of these two. But again, we don't know that there has to be a length 4 line. The parity line can't go through the center. It can't go through like that. Ah, yes. Okay, right. It can't do this wherever the parity line is. But I mean, it could just do like that, right? It might be that won't help us create a unique solution. So how do we... Okay, so we have a region sum line and a parity line. And we can only have limited digits in column 1 and column 2. So what can a region sum line... I mean, region sum line can't do, like that, obviously. Okay. How do we do this? They're different length lines, right? That was part of it. Of different lengths that may overlap. Okay. GDC suggesting that if the region sum line is length 4, you'll never get a unique solution. That's interesting. So we need the region sum line to be... Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Region sum's is it the only thing that disambiguates high and low? I think it is. Because parity line won't. You could just always swap 2s and 4s and 1s and 3s. And so if the region sum line was a length 4 line, that's really interesting. Okay, so if a region sum line was length 4, and let's say we did like 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there's no reason that it can't be 1, 2, 3, 4. Or like that. You could always flip the 2 and the 3 and the 1 and the 4, and you just do that everywhere in the grid, and you're not going to have a unique solution. That's really brilliant and a very nice spot, GDC, because region sumline is the only. It's like if you made a puzzle that only had Ren bands or German whispers, and no given digits, and no black Kropke dots or V's or like V clues or something like that. Then you'll never end up with a unique solution, because you could always just flip 9s and 1s, 2s and 8s, 3s and 7s, 4s and 6s, and have the same sort of functional grid. So you always have to have a kind of clue that is asymmetrical and or include given digits in your puzzle, or you'll never end up with something that's unique. And here, what GDC pointed out is that if you don't use the region sum line to disambiguate highs and lows in this puzzle, it will never be unique, because that's the only thing that can do it. And if region sum line is length 4, it can't help you disambiguate highs and lows. So our region sum line is always going to be less than 4, and in fact it must be 3, because it can't be 1 or 2. Because a region sum line of 2 doesn't help us either. That doesn't help us disambiguate. It would just tell you 2 digits. It would just have to be that or this. But again, that doesn't do anything for us. Right. So we do have a length 3 line. The length 3 line is a region sum line. And I think that there were so many options for it, weren't there? One of those 3 is on it. It could be that. It could be that. It could be that. It could be that. Right? And it could also be like that or that. Those are the options for cheese. That's horrendous. I'm not going to leave those on, but we do have a length 3 region sum line. Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. I've literally forgot what we were just talking about before this. The region sum line can't go through the middle, because these are always the same. So that doesn't do anything for us. You have to go to 4, and that's impossible, or it's useless. So it is a length 3 line that doesn't have a diagonal component to it, because it can't be this either. We need it to disambiguate. So it's going to force either like a 4-3-1 or a 3-2-1, and then the parity is going to resolve that for us. Okay, so we get, how are the horizontal vertical? I don't think there were any vertical lines, right? There were no vertical lines, so it had to be horizontal, and it has to be, those 2 have to be on it, along with that or that. And then if we draw like a little smiley face here, then we're in great shape. Look at that! Look at that cute little thing. Isn't that nice? Right. So, okay, this is the start of the thing here. And what are our options for it? It can be 4-3-1 or it can be 3-2-1. So there's definitely a 1 on it. I don't think that does anything for us. Okay. So now we need to think about parity. And I have a feeling that the parity line, could it be just length 2? Oh. I'm wondering if we could do something like this, right? If that's enough. Well, no, it's not in column 2. So row 2, column 2, and box 2. So like that. Is that enough? Yeah, I'm trying to rule this out, GDC. I'm not. Is it enough? I don't think it is. It's not enough. And this is the only length 2 line that fits the criteria. And it's definitely not enough because that's not going to help us determine there's no way that helps us determine it has to be enough though. Oh, it doesn't have to be that. It's going to have to be like that. Right. It can't be a length 4. Actually, I'm going to claim. Because if you remember, our length 4s were only in this confluence. And none of those are both box 2 and column 2. This one hits box 2. That one hits column 2. But those are the only way we could get a length 4 line in. Isn't that true? Isn't that what I decided? Yeah, that's it. So that logic was important earlier. Right. So we do have just a length 2 line disambiguating it. And so it has to be, I think, like that or like that. This one was definitely set as a troll. I like it, but yeah, I wonder what the rating is. I should have looked. Okay, hold on. Ratfinks is not sure that my logic is sound. I felt like my logic was sound there. If you think about, okay, it can't be a length 3 line. We've already determined that region sum is length 3. Length 1 is definitely not going to help us enough to sort out parity. So it's 2 or 4. But I think the only way to do length 4 lines, is those 3. Because it has to hit box 4. So it's none of those. It's nothing like that. It has to hit row 4. And it has to hit column 4. And I think that's the only way it could work. Now, the point about... That's true. I was mistaken, Ratfinks. If it's length 4, it doesn't... wow, okay. It doesn't have to hit. I was mixing up 2 things. That's a really good point. Oh, this puzzle's doing me in. Okay. If it's a length 4 line, it doesn't have to hit box 2 and column 2. It needs to hit box 4 and column 4. So silly. So silly. But what does a length 4 parity line do for us? It would tell us, for example, okay, if this was it down here, let's just assume that's it. It might do it. Let's assume this is the line down here. Then it would be saying that those 2 are the same parity. Okay, well, this sort of diagonal, I mean, it's possible. I don't see what it would do if... All right, let's just, let's imagine this is the line. Then we would know that pink is either 3 or 4. In fact, it would be. If this is the parity line, this would have to be it. Sorry, I'm thinking about several different things. Oh, right. It's not diagonal. Right. because these can't be different parities. Okay, so if it is a 4 length line, it's this or this. And if it's this, then we have this exactly, because we couldn't have 2 cells visited in column 1. Okay. So if this is it, then we know that pink and blue are the same. So if that's 3, that's 1, that's 2. If that's 4, that's 2, and that's broken. So if this is it, we actually get it forced. 3, 1, 2. 3, 1, 2, 4. Or 2 and 4. And that. I mean, that works. I don't know if it's uniquely forced. Now, is there... So is that all we have to do? I think that works. I mean, is there hold on, let me just test something. Because that felt very much like I just sort of like did it. This would be green and pink are the same. So then this would have to be 2, 1, 3, and 4. 1, 3. So 1, 3, 4. But then, oh, so I think if you go, this isn't unique. I know you're saying GG, but I need to understand it better, even if I got it right. Because I sort of did it by guessing, which feels, I don't know. So I feel like there's a point to be made about potentially if the 2 digits in the same box on the region sum line are the same parity, we'll never actually be able to sort them out. In other words, we need to have like a 1, 3, and a 2, I think. Because if this doesn't solve uniquely, it will never solve uniquely. And I agree that we'd probably need a length 4 line. Are we happy with that? How to tell 1 from 3? Well, in this context, if in this way, we would know, 3, because this can't be 4 and 2, so it had to be 3 and 1, and then 2 and 4, and we get it straight away. This is unique. This is the solution. I'm just trying to find a way. I mean, I guess let's just prove it, right? 3, which obviously we could have guessed because there's a bunch of 2, 3s in the corner, right? So that's it. That's the solution, and I think I understand it well enough. Like, if you I guess the alternative though would be like this, right? We do that. Now, what I'm saying is this, the Audi digit always has to be 3. I think that this always has to be 3 because, so 3 and 1, and that doesn't work. Because if this is a 4, and then you would never be able to disentangle 1 and 3. Right. So that's it. That's the point, is that the 1 cell digit in the row 3 region sum line always has to be a 3, so that you get different parity on the other side, and then we can use the parity line to disentangle it. And if we do it this direction, then yellow has to be 3, Sorry, this is not like that. So then this becomes 3, which means that blue is the 1, and that makes this a 2-4, which doesn't work. So we can rule that out, and we can rule this out because it has too many digits there. Okay, cool. I feel like better about that. I wonder how this is rated. That's like, yeah, this is. I wish he was here for it. He would have enjoyed watching that. Anyway, so what did we get? We got a bunch of. Let's do these 3s again, in case Sarah's still up. There we go. Let's get our 3s in the corner. That's very nice. Now we know that blues are 1, yellows are 2, and greens are 4. Nice.